You want to hear something funny, guys? I recently started watching a show that I actually haven't seen before. Shockingly, I have not seen this show. I started watching it recently. My teen romantic comedy is wrong as I expected. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this show. I'm sure some of you really like it. I hadn't watched it until recently, somehow. So I sat down and watched it. And then I find out that Hachiman and Yukino are the same voice actors that voices Yor and Loid. So, today, the whole time I'm watching the episode, that's just going through my mind, and I just can't not picture it, I just found that really funny today. Especially since we had an episode of fine dining and whining, a little bit of romance, if you will, and just overall connections as a whole. So I wanted to throw that in. So, let's talk about Spy X Family. See, technically still season 1, episode 24 today, because it's a nice episode. So our episode begins with us just seeing Yor still down in the dumps, just still depressed over Fiona being around, honestly, and how it makes her feel. As she passes by the best neighbor / worst neighbors in the world, as they say, "Good morning, Mrs. Forger. What's the matter? Why do you look so blue?" Smacking into that pole. As Yor says aloud to herself, "Am I going to be tossed aside? When I really think about it, it never mattered if I won that tennis match." And as Yor walks away, we get into the girl talk, as they say, "Her husband cheated on her. I just know it." Like, oh heavens, what an awful man. As we just see Loid in the background being like, "What the hell? I'm getting slandered here." As they say, "Well, look how handsome he is. I guess it's to be expected. I hope the missus doesn't sell him off to the secret police like the woman in apartment 15 did with her husband." Loid's just like, damn, no, anything but that. As he thinks, is Yor concerned about Nightfall? This would be very bad for my cover, and if she just happened to mention it to her brother. As we see a scene of how Yuri would absolutely probably react. Loid says, "I can definitely see that happening." And as we transition back to the Forger household, we see that good old Scruffy himself, Frankie's looking out for Anya right now. As Loid's trying to go deal with Yor. And come on, ladies, look, he's good with kids. Someone give Frankie a chance. It makes me sad as hell to see Frankie just get rejected so hard all the time. And as Loid's about to leave to go deal with Yor, he gets smacked in the back of the head with a frisbee by Frankie as he says, "No, seriously, how many times I gotta tell you I'm not a babysitter for you, man?" As Loid's just like, "Man, I already explained this to you. If I don't clear up Yor's misunderstanding involving my coworker, it'll affect all of Operation Strix. It'd be hard to talk to her about these things in front of a child. Especially one that can read minds." As Loid hands him a fat stack of cash, and Frankie's like, "Don't try to solve everything with money, you villain." But snatches it up real quick and says, "Alright guys, let's go to the park and have some fun." And it's here we transition to Yor and Loid meeting up with each other after work for, I guess you could honestly call it a little bit of a date. But Yor's kind of hesitant as she says, "So what are we doing?" As Loid tells her, "Well, I thought we could go out and have some drinks." And as we transition to this bar, it's a really nice bar, honestly, I gotta be honest. So after the drinks are handed out, Loid gets a full bottle of scotch, by the way. Let's just keep that in mind. He tells Yor that, "Thank you for always doing the chores and taking care of Anya." Yor's really hesitant though. She's like, "What's really going on here? It seems like he wants to talk about something with me." As she's just imagining Fiona coming out and being like, "Hey, I'm taking your husband now. Bye-bye." Like this is a reality TV show. Yor's just like, damn, what does he do? This is a problem. If he ends this relationship. As she thinks to herself, well, this was always a marriage of convenience. I have no right to say anything about Loid's personal life. If Loid has romantic feelings for her, that means I'm no longer of use, and I should just leave. As she tries to tell Loid that, if this is what you want, I'd be happy to, But she can't seem to get the words out as she tells herself, why? But why? My throat keeps closing up and the words won't come out. Is it because I want this life to continue? Yes. But I can't. Loid's happiness is more important than protecting yourself. So it's here we need a bit of liquid courage as she downs her entire glass and says, that's not enough. I need to have yours too, Loid, and downs the entire bottle of scotch. Loid's just like, yo, you're gonna die, Yor, if you drink like that. And it's here we get the return of drunk Yor. Everyone's favorite as she says, Loid, just who is that woman? Are you in love with her, Loid? And Loid's just like, I've been trying to say that this whole time. And she's like, I see. So you were in a relationship. As Loid's just like, please calm down, Yor. You're kind of making a scene here. She's just a colleague of mine, I swear. I promise you, our relationship is nothing more than that. Literally. But the bartender's just like, damn, being such a hot guy must be rough. As Yor says, it's fine. I know I'm a failure. I'm nowhere near as pretty as Fiona. Which I don't think is true, honestly. I think they're about even. Personally. Just saying. And it's here, Loid's just like, wait a minute. I thought she was fearing the end of our contract because she lost faith in her abilities. Is she actually jealous? Wait. Does Yor have romantic feelings for me? What? Preposterous! Who? I can't even imagine that! As Loid takes 1 second to calculate his thoughts and says, I am Twilight. I have had relationships with countless women for the sake of my missions. As he puts his hand on top of her hand and says, I'm sorry I made you worry, Yor. As he says, if Yor truly feels this way about me, I simply must take advantage of it. Which means it's time for Operation Honey Trap. As he continues and says, I want you to have faith in me, Yor. Do you hate me now? And Yor's starting to freak the hell out as we see the racing heart meter on the side just going up more and more and more. As Loid continues and says, Yor, after spending so much time by your side, I finally realized my true feelings. And right before our heart meter is about to burst, Loid tries to tell her, let's get married for and as it bursts, she sends this man flying with a kick. She kicks the shit out of him. You can literally hear the sound of the kick when you're watching the episode. It sounds brutal. Loid's face after the kick says it all. But Loid actually lands the getting thrown part. In style, of course, as he says, damn, I was so wrong. That wasn't from embarrassment. That was true rejection. There wasn't even a hint of romantic feelings in that kick. I got cocky. I'm so sorry. As Loid is about to pass the hell out. He's seeing stars. He went to the Twilight Zone. As Loid's just like, I don't understand. What was that mood of hers just now? Did she initiate some high-level reverse trap to get me to infiltrate or to initiate the honey trap? And right before he passes out, he says, I can't let my guard down like that. Somehow, being with Yor throws me off. And alright guys, on a little bit of a serious note, I very much like that she interrupted him in this instance. Because Loid was about to say literally what we all want him to say. Literally what he's probably going to say later in the show. But he was going to say it now for all the wrong reasons. For all the wrong reasons. Because it's that the spark is there, but the love isn't completely there just yet. And he was going to use that. So I'm glad she interrupted him so we can save that for later. And as we transition to our next scene, we just hear singing. As Loid says, how nostalgic. That's a lullaby I used to hear all the time. As Loid opens his eyes and he sees that Yor is actually singing to him right now. As Loid gets up in a panic, like a panic, and says, oh, damn, how long was I out? Where are we? As Yor tells him, the bartender said we were being too loud and kicked us out. And yeah, I guess kicking your husband across the entire bar would be considered too loud. Just a little bit. As Loid's just like, damn, why do I keep letting my guard down around her? Why was I using her lap as a pillow as well? But it's here that Yor tells him that, I'm sorry, Loid. Of course you'd get sick of a muscle-headed woman like me. And I really like this scene a lot, truthfully, as Loid doesn't try to do any agent move right here. He doesn't try to do any ploy. He takes a second and he really thinks about what he wants to tell her. As he speaks from his heart and says, when I was little, though I can't remember her face, I loved being in my mother's arms. Even on nights when we could have been bombed at any moment, just having my mother by my side allowed me to sleep soundly. My mother was strong. As he continues and says, Anya tells me all the time that even if she's in danger, her mama will come save her, so she'll be okay. The reason why she's able to smile and have fun like that is because you're a safe place for her, Yor. And as here Loid thinks to himself that we agents of the state have been trying to rebuild this world through our blood, sweat, and tears, yet she managed to accomplish that on her own. As he says, you're very strong, Yor. This may be rude to say to an unmarried woman, but you're already a wonderful mother. I have absolutely no intention of replacing you in the role of her mother. Yor still has her doubts though, she says, but in my case, I've just been taking care of Yuri for so long that I just tried to do something similar. But Loid tells her, but that's just it though. This is a skill you've been building up ever since you were little. Have more confidence in yourself. I would love for you to continue being Anya's mother. And to continue in my role, or in your role as my wife. As Yor starts crying here and says, I humbly accept if you'll continue to have me. And as we transition back to the Forger household, we just hear Anya say that Papa and Mama are late. They gotta be shacking up somewhere. And as Loid and Yor get back home, everything's great. Until we look at Loid, his crimson chin looking ass. Oh, God. As Frankie's just laughing at him saying, did you try to put some moves on her and get punched? But it's here Yor thinks to herself that I'm actually surprised myself. Back then, I never became attached to anyone or anything other than my brother. And yet, I really can't let this place go. And as we transition to the next morning after this beautiful scene, we see that Yor doesn't remember any of it whatsoever. And they have to have the same conversation over again. Now, the second half of our episode, I'll be honest, is not important at all. Not even remotely important whatsoever, honestly. So I think I'll go through this quick. If you guys are a little mad at that, I'm sorry, but I don't really want to talk about these two shopping, you know? So we'll go through this quick. Basically, the gist is that Anya's given up on getting the 8 Stella Stars to become an Imperial scooter. So her plan is to go headfirst into the friendship scheme with Damien. And Becky, thinking that, oh, she just really likes him again, that misunderstanding, thinks, oh, if you get dressed up all cute and fancy, he'll be head over heels for you in no time. And while they go out to go shopping with each other, you know, they have a good time. They have fun with each other. We get some montages of clothes and all that. We get like a Legally Blonde-esque kind of song playing in the background. It's definitely something. And as we transition to the end of their shopping trip at the end of the day, we see both of them asleep in the back of the car. And we actually get a flashback scene for Becky, funny enough, as we see that throughout her whole life, she's kind of shunned people from like a lower class than her, you know? She's shunned and pushed them away, thinking that she's better than them. As we see that her help, Martha, always used to tell her that, my lady, you mustn't think you know there is all to know about everything and everyone. Once you stop doing that, you'll be on your way to becoming a proper adult. And as we see how she acted the day after meeting Anya, we see that Anya's really having an important part on Becky's life. She's really bringing her more down to earth, making her realize that, you know, I'm not better than everyone else. I'm not any different. We're both young girls at a time of our life where we think we know everything, but we're still learning. And Anya's really helping her realize that. And as we transition back to their school, we see the little matching keychains that they both got. And we see Damien off to the side, and we realize that, Anya doesn't have to buy all these clothes and all that to impress him. Just her smiling face is enough to make that little shit Damien blush. And, when you're a kid, trust me, that's enough. And our episode ends with that. And, guys, I really don't like to kind of skip through stuff like that, but this really was not very important, I wanted to save you guys and myself some time, trust me. It's truly not that important. But what did you guys think about the Loid and Yor moment, Slowly but surely, they are starting to realize that maybe we feel something a little more here than we thought, Maybe our marriage of convenience is starting to turn into something that we really like, we really enjoy, something we look forward to every day, and something that's changing us ever so slowly, So you guys let me know what you think of this episode down below, because we only have one more episode left in the season, and it's kind of sad. It makes me sad, man. I love this series so much. So to not have it anymore on Saturdays is just gonna feel weird to me, It's gonna feel so weird. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And honestly, find you someone who looks at you the way that Yor looks at Loid, or the way that Loid secretly looks at Yor. Find you someone like that, guys, and you will be eternally happy. So until next time, guys, deuces, and have a blessed day.